Hi everyone! You can see I am at my parents' house for a book review, as the title says, as I have finished Simmer All Night by Geralyn Dawson. And, yeah. It's not a book I plan on keeping, just because of the whole book, and it really didn't start getting, good or, started to hook me in and draw me in, sort of, until, the last third of the book. And if you're gonna keep the book, you don't want, the majority of the book to be I don't really care about this book. I don't really care. So, yeah. Alright, so the things I liked about this book, we're gonna go with that, because I feel like I have a lot more that I didn't like. So, what I did like about this book is the fact that our main character, Kristina, I feel we share a lot of traits and just our personality and the way we are. Some of the way we act. She's a little more bold than I am, but she still has this shy, can get hurt really bad, really easily by family and such. I find I tend to get that way too. And, well, I liked Kristina in her way. I liked Kristina. I really liked Kristina. And throughout the entirety of the book, and her personality, it just, we kind of suited each other pretty much, sort of. We suited each other, I find. And that's, yeah, I really liked her character, and she didn't really progress in character. She didn't start out as a certain way, most of the characters, especially Cole, I'll get to him, but she continued her own, pretty much the way she is, her personality, she stayed the same throughout the entire book, throughout the entirety of this book. There was only maybe a minor change where, just because of the way her family had treated her, and the way her family treated her caused her to have the personality she does have. As we all kind of know how our personality kind of, works out and evolves and such, is because of what we do as ourselves, what we read, and the people around us, how they interact with us, kind of help mold our the stuff inside us into who we are supposed to be. She only did a little bit, and it's literally in the last 4 chapters of this book that she had quite a bit of trust issues because of the way her family treated her, and just the way her family acted towards her caused her to not sometimes believe when people say they actually really love you, or Cole saying that he really loves her and all that such. It just took her a long while. That's not really a fault of hers, I find. It's just something, that happened, and the way people treated her, the way they acted around her, that made her the way she is, that's all. Alright, so now I'm gonna go on to Cole. I didn't like him at first. Don't get me wrong, he's a very interesting type of character. It's very rare for me to read these type of characters, but he grew on me as the story progressed, and he himself had a lot of faults. The way he's an orphan, both of his parents died at a young age, him at a young age, and he was kind of adopted into Kristina's family, so he thought of her parents as his parents, and at the time, brother and sister, she has an older brother. But throughout the story, it's he reveres the mother, Kristina's mother, and just just the way she is. She's at the time okay, I gotta finish talking about Cole. He just he doesn't like scandal. And at the time, it's the 1800s, sort of Victorian age, a lot of women are not, they're not supposed to do certain things. For example, Kristina, she creates a stand serving chili and wearing very scandalous clothing. Like she wears like a peasant dress that's like very kind of loose-ish, so like her shoulders, like her dress sort of falls off her shoulders and just like it's very revealing, and she doesn't wear shoes, and she's very liberal, using that term. And that's really just herself. She's a very outspoken, very passionate, very strong and courageous woman, her personality of herself. But then when she's around her family, she feels very, going a little all over the place, but she feels very like they've hurt her, and they have hurt her, but they've done it in a way that to outsiders and even themselves doesn't feel like they're being like detrimental and negative toward Kristina, but she's just, yeah. And so at the beginning, he's very, does not like it, and he doesn't want a scandal. He's a lawyer himself, so he's kind of had to like spring her from certain situations that I guess caused like almost bad situations. But he's very loyal, he's very headstrong, where like he will go do something and he will do it with all his heart, and he will do it until like he's exhausted everything. It's not until like maybe about near the end of the second third to like the beginning last third of the book is when he starts like really like evolve, like his character really evolves into like a more well-rounded person, and he accepts that the way Kristina is. And yes, she's a flirter. That's because her school taught her that to be like that. But she found the right man, which basically is Cole. She would do it because she wants, like, I'm not saying this right, but anyway, he just gets better. He is a lot more accepting of Kristina. Everyone sort of, by the end of the book, is really accepting. Like, her family and Cole is really accepting of her personality and the way she is. And, like, a lot of our personality, it's not going to change. It may subtly change as we grow and interact with people, but the core of who we are and how we react and how we act and all that such is not really going to change. It may subtly change as we grow, as like, you know, like we start getting into more like adult age, where we're a lot more responsible and we start believing like, okay, some of this stuff that we've been doing is a little childish, and I do need to grow out of that. And we say that to ourselves personally. We don't usually take outsiders like advice and such. And like, you know, gradually we get to the age where we start having kids and we slightly change there, and then we get to like seniors and like retirees, and we slightly change there. We don't all out change completely, but as a, like, yeah. Anyway, Kristina does a slight minor change in her personality, but it's like something that makes her even better. Whereas Cole, he had a lot of negative faults about him, I found, but as we got more to the end of the book, he got a whole lot better. He's a lot more accepting of Kristina, the person that he professes he loves and such. I really liked the character, her best friend, the character of Lana. And Lana has 2 children from a marriage, and that husband died of like, he was trying to make a house for them, and he used this like thing that exploded, and he died, and his parents were really mean to her, and it's just, I really loved that character. She was like the sweetest thing in the world. And I also found that a lot of her personality and her traits and such, and her own negative stuff that's not really going to change. Like, there's some negative stuff that won't really change, but it's like, I don't know. I found I saw a lot of myself in Kristina and in Lana, and like, I liked those 2 women. They were great. I loved it. And then her mother, I don't really want to talk about the mother because that's negative. In general, I liked the story. And that's about all I can say. In general, as a whole scope, it was okay. Yeah. Anything else I liked about it? No, that's pretty much all. So I'm going to get to, hold on. That didn't really help. Okay. I gotta get off my knees. Oh, okay. I'm gonna come up a little closer. It's gonna, yeah. Because I'm not sitting in my chair and I can't really bend down because I still don't have a tripod. And I may buy it later after I take care of a baby shower and maybe a birthday gift I'm gonna get this month. I may wait till next month, but whatever. Anyway, so there was a lot of negatives. Majority of this book was negative for me. The writing I didn't have a problem with. It was very well written and it flowed really well. I didn't have a problem with that. What I had a problem was the actual story plot itself. So there's two plots going on in there. We've got Kristina, you know, she's being sent to her grandfather over in England, and supposedly he's a very, very strict man, and we find out he's not. He's a kind of a big soft spot, but she's supposed to go over there, get strictified and English ladyified over there in England, and, you know, basically in secret with conspiracy of her grandfather and her mother, which is her mother's father, that she's supposed to go find a husband that is going to curb all of this recklessness, according to her mother at the time, and such of that. And, okay, this actual plot of the story. So that's one thing where she's supposed to find a husband, and she's flirting with a bunch of people, and like she really is liking this stuff over there in England, some of the stuff. And she does get betrothed, but this Lord Welby, that's his name, they kind of find themselves more as friends. And behind her back, because like people are trying to get her to get out of this whole marrying an English gentleman, because it's really not her, Lord Welby gets in on the plot because, you know, he doesn't really find he's in love with her, and he really wants to marry for love more. And she brings Lana over with her to England and her children. As I said, Lana's parents and her in-laws on her husband's side are not that nice, so, well, Welby and Lana start talking and getting into stuff. And then, you know, Welby and Lana actually fall in love, like heavily heated fall in love. So, yeah, yeah. And, you know, Cole comes over there to England, and he just doesn't like the situation of her, like, being with anyone else, because he's, you know, he's basically falling in love with her. And that's one part of the story. The other part is that Lana's mother, her brother, and Cole are part of this historical society and trying to look for the Declaration of Independence of the Republic of Texas. Like this paper thing that was made, like handwritten, not typed, when the Alamo was, you know, basically, you know, like defeated and lost. But, you know, like Texas became an independent republic of its own, and, you know, was no longer part of Mexico and that sort of stuff. So they're looking for these pieces of paper, like these big piece of paper supposedly, or something like that. They find out that one of them is in England and it's being held somewhere. So that's another big part of the story. But, so anyway, as I said, so those are the two plots of the story. But you'd think they would, you know, they'd be mingled together. And they're not. And that's what annoyed me about this book, is that we have this love story that, you know, trying to get Cole and Kristina together and also find this document. I figure when you read that, you know, they're going to be intermingled. There's going to be equal amounts of both. And, you know, we're going to end it with, like, this really big celebration. More than likely, like, you know, a wedding of sorts between Cole and Kristina. But no. The majority of the book, like the first 2/3 of the book at least, are all about Christina at her grandfather's manor and basically trying to find a husband, and you know, her and Cole kind of falling in love and such. And then like near the end of that is when the whole searching for this document and this mystery about it is coming to light. And then that last third of the book is all about that, and sort of like the last sprinkling of the love stuff. Like the last third of the book feels more of the mingling of both plots, and I found it really annoying. Is why are they not intermingled properly? And it's just annoying because I figured, you know, when I read that type of stuff, most of the time they're actually mingled together properly. You've got like maybe like 3 chapters that involve the searching of the mystery part of it, and then you've got like maybe two to 3 chapters after that that are about the love part, or like, you know, one after the other, or like, you know, they're intermingled within a single chapter properly. And that's not what I found in this book. It was just annoying, and I didn't like that. Yeah. And then like, okay, when I was reading it, it's just a typing error, and not a grammatical error, just a physical, like, either Miss Dawson and her editor and, you know, the publishers didn't catch this, but twice, or like, you know, 3 times, there were instances of this situation where this name being, you know, said like this so-and-so is taking Christina and Cole somewhere, but instead of the name that's supposed to be there, it's a different name. So, as I said, Welby and Lana fall in love together. In this situation where they get the wrong name, this other character that turns out to be the bad guy is taking, at first they don't know it's the bad guy, but takes Cole and Christina to show them something, because that's kind of the reason why they're at this place. And at the beginning part, it says the proper name, but at this like one like paragraph part, for some I don't know how nobody caught it, but it says Welby instead of the other person's name, and that happened like 3 times at least. It's just like, wow, do you not know how to do your job, editor? Like, an editor is supposed to edit the thing to make sure it makes sense, and like 3 times they say the wrong name. At least. It's not spelt wrong, it's just switching one name out for something else, and it's sort of annoying. And then the other thing that makes me not want to buy this book is, as I was saying, like, literally everyone is so, like, mean to Christina and basically putting her down, which is not good, because there are certain situations where, yes, it makes sense to put someone down because, like, this is really, really wrong. But what she's doing is not wrong, and it's just stupid and mean, and it just doesn't make Christina feel good. It didn't make me feel good, because I've been in similar situations and like spoken to that way too, and it just doesn't feel good. And it's the way I'm a very, very sensitive, emotional, empathetic person, and I feel emotions very deeply. So when someone is like, oh my god, why are you wearing that, or like, why the hell are you doing that, it's like but that's me, that's my personality, like what why, just oh, it's very annoying. And like, this is your mother and your brother, and like the person you want to be in love with you is like just bringing you down, and it's not making you feel good. I'm also not, I don't think I'm getting it out all properly, but they just, ugh. And like, they clearly didn't understand her, and it also, I don't think they wanted to understand her at first. We have to remember that at first, the majority of the book, like the first third of the book at least, they did not want, they basically were like, no, you have to change, you have to be more ladylike. You can't do that. That is not proper, okay? That's not good, okay? You are bringing our name down. You are making a scandal. You are doing improper things, and you're just all that such. And it's like, what does What is that? Why is that important when you're hurting your daughter and sister and just it's not good. It's not good because it doesn't either one, you're going to make them even more reckless and the possibility of them doing something really dangerous and really stupid and like the possibility of them getting killed, very damagedly hurt, or like broken arm or broken leg or like in a coma sort of thing, or they get in trouble with the law so much that it like it's whatever, or that's the really negative part, or you keep doing that, they may stop, but they'll be like the most miserable person ever on the planet. They will be like the saddest person. All their light will more than likely have drained from their body and they will just be a zombie. They won't more than likely they won't even smile. They won't even seem like themselves anymore. Like, yeah. So it did not, I got angry at these characters. And like throughout the book, like it just, yeah. It didn't make me feel good. But with Cole, he was making progress and he was getting better. Whereas her mother and her brother, they were still out in Texas while she and Cole were like put together for a lot of the time, where they can hash out, they can yell at each other and like, have sex because they have all this pent up energy and they are insanely in love with each other. Yes. Yeah. So the makeup of her brother and her mother didn't really happen until the end of the book, which is, yeah. So, yeah. I personally would not recommend this book just because of how negative most of the time I felt. Not like, well, the most negative parts that I had were when like Cole just like wanted to change her and wanted her to stop being like this reckless, flirtatious woman when that's part of her a lot. There's a lot part of her. I'm lost. Where am I talking about now? Yeah, I wouldn't recommend this book personally myself, but if you like, I don't know, if you like a lot of this Texas stuff, even though it's set most of the time in England, that's where a lot of the chapters are, you still get this very Texas vibe. And I did like that part. And that was good that you kept Texas in there very vibrantly, because, this is a Texas book. This is supposed to be set for Texas time and all that such. But you also get like some English stuff in there, which is interesting to read. I'm sorry, I am insanely itchy. I have no idea why. Yes, so I won't recommend you have to read this book, but if you're very much really like the Texas stuff, you can totally read that. And there's a character in here who is an Englishman, but has a fascination with Texas. So, you can, it's cool like that. So, I don't really want to talk anymore about this because I've talked myself out. Talked so much about this. I've talked about this for like 20 minutes or so. No, 28 minutes at least. So, I am not going to be buying this book. I do not personally recommend this book. But if you like all that Texas stuff and like English stuff, but you're not sure, that you can read this book. This is interlibrary loan, so you may have to buy it. You may be able to get it easily on like audio or an e-reader, one of those, or I don't know where else you would easily be able to get it. But I am done talking about that book. I am now back to my own book. I will be reading Initiation, the second book of the Vampire Beach Quartet by Alex Duval. So yes, I'm going to be finally going to be finished this thing. I don't mind bind-ups, but sometimes it's just there's a little annoyance with the whole, you know, all that bind-up, because like, especially when you're doing a book review, it's a little annoying when you've got to do a book review for a book or series, because this is the first 2 books of the series. And it's just a little annoying when you're doing a book review. If I wasn't doing a book review of this, I wouldn't have such a problem, because I would have read those 2 quite fast. So yeah. There is no back thing specifically for initiation, but where is it? This last sentence here, you can read it. I read this in the previous one, but I'll read it again for this. And when an old friend pays him a visit, they have no idea that they're about to put themselves in mortal danger, literally. So this is a friend. I know this is a friend from his life back in Michigan, as he's already made a bunch of friends in Malibu, and one of his closest friends, his name is Adam. And so I'm not gonna start reading it tonight, because, you know, maybe likes talking to me. And like, when I'm trying to read, it's like, I'm trying to read, okay? Let me read. Because, you know, sometimes when somebody starts talking to you, like, sometimes you can, you know, be like, yes, and, you know, answer them quite easily. But sometimes they start talking heavily to you, and it's like, it brings you out of trying to read. Especially when you're trying to read it for a book review. So yeah, this is my next book, the initiation book. And, yes, if you liked my interesting, long book review, you can hit that like button down there. And if you have any comments, if you've read this book, I'd like to know how you thought about it, or anything from this series. This is part of the series. This is book 3. And the other books that are part of it, it's weird how they are, but they are a part of it. I just find it really weird. If you've read any of that series, and maybe anything by Geralyn Dawson, you can leave in the comments below how you liked it, and if you maybe recommend any ones that I might personally like better, just leave in the comments below. And just don't be negative, don't be nasty, because we do not need that in the world, alright? We just don't need it. And if this, oh my gosh, there's something on my forehead. If this is the first time you're watching my video, please hit that big red subscribe button down there by my picture for more book reviews, hauls, unboxing, unbagging, because something's, unbagging, because some things come in a bubble wrap manila envelope or a plastic bag wrapped thingy. Vlogmas, random vlogs, and random videos. I have no idea where to categorize. Okay, I'm gonna go stop this, and then I'm gonna go back into Manny's room, his living room, and I don't know. We'll see what the night holds. I might actually eat dinner, because I'm kind of not exactly hungry, but I probably should eat. I don't even know what time it is. So I will see you all in my next video. Bye everyone.